Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. With the Mother's Mercy, fans globally are thrilled that House of the Dragon will consist of 4 seasons with 10 episodes of 1 hour each. I believe it is time to thank the old gods and the new. The first and foremost thing that any fan of House of the Dragon would want to know is the release date of the second season. The show received the green light for a second season back in August 2022 itself, right after the airing of the first episode. The fact that almost 20 million people were glued to their screens spoke loudly about the fact that people still love the Game of Thrones universe. In this video, we'll tell you everything there is to know about the second season, from the release date and plot lines to the expected new characters. I'll be uncovering a lot of things, but hey, beware of spoilers if you somehow manage to miss the show. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin, shall we? What is House of the Dragon Season 2's expected release date? The first season ended on an extremely traumatic and horrifying note, something that people knew about, but it still shocked them. Yes, I'm talking about Vhagar chomping on Lucerys and his dragon. Daemon then tells Rhaenyra about the same, and she goes into a black fury with that "I'm gonna commit war crimes" look on her face. How we would have loved a second season right now, but HBO is notorious for delivering subsequent seasons after like 2 years. After looking at various sources and things said by Ryan Condal and Mr. Martin, we know that the filming of Season 2 of House of the Dragon will begin sometime around April of 2023, and since the show will have a lot of dragon-packed action, it should hit the screens by the end of 2024. Although it sounds a bit late, it's not as late as the Avatar sequel. Moving on, there's a piece of good news as well. Mr. Martin does not wish to turn House of the Dragon into another Game of Thrones, and hence, he's ensuring that an almost 150 pages of source material will be turned into 4 seasons with 10 episodes in each season. That means that the Great Dance of Dragons will be summarized into a magnificent epic of 30 more episodes. That's 30 hours of war and dragons! What could happen in House of the Dragon Season 2? I mentioned earlier that HBO did not really wait for long before announcing the second season of House of the Dragon. I mean, why would they? The show gave them the largest ever audience for any original show. The cast and crew did undertake a massive challenge and exceeded the expectations of the fans and critics alike. In Season 1, Viserys dies, Aegon becomes king in King's Landing, while Rhaenyra is crowned in Dragonstone. But the war of quills and ravens and promises and threats turned into a full-blown war of fire and blood after Aemon's dragon Vhagar killed Prince Lucerys and his dragon Arrax. Co-creator Ryan Condal in an interview said, "Season 1 was setting the table for a very bloody feast to come. I'm really interested in picking up with all of those characters that we spent all of this time introducing, particularly Rhaenyra and Alicent's families. How do all those react? That's the story that we tell in Season 2 and beyond." However, he emphasized that Season 2 would still be mostly about Rhaenyra and her friend-turned-stepmother and enemy, Alicent Hightower. Interestingly, Rhaenyra and Daemon get married in the second half of the first season, and it seems that the two of them share a love-hate relationship. At least, that is what Daemon projected when he grabbed Rhaenyra's neck in the last episode. Honestly, it is not just an act of treason, but something that could easily get his head on a spike. However, Rhaenyra understands that her uncle-turned-husband is the best battle commander alive, and she would not want to lose his support in the upcoming war. Clearly, there are going to be several interpretations of that act, and the scene only sets the stage for a new dynamic in Rhaenyra and Daemon's paradise of incestuous relations. Anyway, there's another great player among the ranks of Team Black. That would be Corlys Velaryon and his strong fleet of ships that are presently serving Rhaenyra. However, there's a little catch here. Corlys had named Lucerys the heir to Driftmark after Corlys' son Laenor faked his own death. Now, Corlys has lost another heir, and he cannot name Jacaerys the heir because he's supposed to become king after Rhaenyra. That leaves Baela and Rhaena, the daughters of Daemon and Laena, but they're girls, and the whole civil war is being fought because a woman is claiming the Iron Throne. I don't think that Corlys would want his house to suffer the same fate, because he's wise enough to understand that wars are not lenient on anyone, no matter how important or powerful or innocent a person is. But more importantly, Lucerys' death has opened the gates to Rhaenyra's fury. She had been considering Otto's offer because a war would have meant immense suffering for the realm, but she's now done with mediation and passive actions. Rhaenyra Targaryen will now show her true form and what it means to have the blood of a dragon.
Stark, Tully, and Baratheon all swore to me. When King Viserys named me his heir.
Who's in the House of the Dragon, Season 2? There'll be a string of new characters that would appear in the second season. Some of them would be as lovable as Jon Snow and Ned Stark, while the others would be as sickening as the Mountain. We'd meet the likes of Cregan Stark as well as Blood and Cheese. But hey, we've compiled a list of all these characters, and let's just explore them one by one. Daeron Targaryen. So, Alicent Hightower and Viserys Targaryen had 3 sons. We have already seen the short-tempered Aemond and his lecherous elder brother Aegon. But, strangely enough, we've not had even a glimpse of Daeron Targaryen. So, where is he? I mean, it's not like Alicent can make another baby because her husband is dead. In reality, the showrunners didn't have enough time to bring Daeron Targaryen on screen, but he's set to appear in the next season. The show would tell us that Daeron is, in fact, in Old Town, serving as a cupbearer to the Lord of Old Town. In fact, Ryan Condal told Variety, "Honestly, this stuff happens all the time in this world. It's not our modern day where if you had a 6-year-old, you would FaceTime them every day. When he's relevant to be mentioned, and he will be mentioned." Daeron rode the dragon Targaryen, and I can't wait to see who plays Daeron because he's one of the most amazing characters in the Green Camp. Cregan Stark. Those who have read the book would know that Ned Stark's personality matched a lot with that of his ancestor, Cregan Stark. The man was not just formidable, but also a man of honor. He would slay an enemy king on the battlefield, but would also punish those who would poison that king. Cregan Stark became the Lord of Winterfell at the age of 13, and had to imprison his uncle and cousins because the uncle was extremely slow at transferring power to Cregan. He later married a beautiful bride who died in childbirth, and Cregan raised his son Rickon. In the show, Prince Jacaerys will meet Lord Cregan Stark and request for his support. If the show follows the book, the bromance between Cregan and Jacaerys would be something very interesting, and may even resemble the friendship shared by Jon and his brothers from the Night's Watch, especially Samwell. Although Cregan would be nothing like Samwell, at least not when it came to fighting prowess. Yet Cregan would do everything in his power to help the Blacks, and more so because of an oath of brotherhood he would take with Prince Jacaerys. Apart from this, the two of them would also sign a pact of ice and fire, according to which the Jacaerys' eldest daughter would marry Cregan's eldest son, that is, Rickon. However, while that never happens, the pact is somewhat fulfilled many years later when Rhaegar Targaryen marries Lyanna Stark. Sarah Snow. According to Mushroom, when Prince Jacaerys reached Winterfell, he fell in love with Sarah Snow, Cregan Stark's bastard half-sister. The Fool goes on to say that the two of them slept together, and Cregan grew angry when he found out. However, Sarah tells his brother that she and Jacaerys had said their vows before getting intimate, and Cregan calms down. While the show may introduce Sarah Snow, it's unlikely that Jacaerys would bed the girl because that's just not like him. He would not break the betrothal to Baelor just because he would get to do a northern beauty. But then, even the most honorable Robb Stark had turned down the Tully girl, so we never know, actually. The 5 Dragon Seeds. Speaking of bastards, there was a string of such boys and girls who played important roles in the book. After Prince Jacaerys returned from his trip, he found that there were too many dragons but very few dragon riders on Dragonstone. It seems that this task has been undertaken by Prince Daemon in the show. Nevertheless, either Jace or Daemon would definitely follow the book and ask the citizens of Dragonstone to attempt and ride dragons, in return for which they would be awarded lofty titles and huge pieces of land. Among these would be Ulf White and Hugh Hammer, the riders of Silverwing and Vermithor, respectively. Unfortunately for the Blacks, these two would switch sides and join the Greens, before trying to seize the throne for themselves. Then there was Nettles, the only person to have mastered a wild dragon. Lastly, we had Adam and Alan of Hull, two brothers who were said to be the bastard sons of Sir Lane or Valerian, but more likely, they were sired by Lord Corlys. After Lucerys, Lord Corlys named Adam the heir to Driftmark. Adam would go on to ride Laenor's dragon, Seasmoke. Gwaine and Ormond Hightower. In the book, Gwaine Hightower was Alicent's sibling, while Ormond was her cousin and the Lord of Hightower. The two men haven't appeared in the show yet, but I'd place my bet on them appearing in the second season because, apart from Sir Criston Cole, there's no one else who could lead attacks and armies. What I mean is, the Dance of Dragons will not just be won by dragons, right? Armies would fight armies, and there would be several battles taking place at different places at the same time. So, who would lead these various armies? Well, people like Ormond would provide to be valuable battle commanders and would be a great help to the Green cause. Blood and Cheese. Anyone who's read the books must be aware of the horrific act committed by these two nefarious and notorious men. To avenge the death of Prince Lucerys, Daemon would seek Mysaria's help to recruit a rat catcher named Cheese and a butcher named Blood to execute one of King Aegon II's children. The two forced Queen Rlyeha Targaryen to choose a child she would want dead. She chose the youngest of her children, believing that he would not understand anything. But instead, the assassins decapitated the 6-year-old Prince Jaehaerys. The act would be condemned by even the worst of people, and it would drive Queen Rlyeha to madness. Lady Jane Arryn. Lady Jane Arryn was the Lady of the Eyrie and the head of House Arryn during the Dance of Dragons. In the last episode, Prince Jaehaerys was ordered by his mother to go to the Vale as well. Lady Jane would serve as an important figure in the dance and would prove to be a strong support to the Blacks. Lady Jane had also captured Alice Rivers, the mysterious woman who claimed to be the wife of Prince Aemond and mother to his son. It was under Lady Jane's protection in the Vale that Prince Rhaenyra's dragon Morning had hatched. In the book, Lady Jane served as one of the regents to King Aegon III, Rhaenyra's eldest surviving son. Marvelous verdict. Well, irrespective of when the second season of House of the Dragon releases, one thing that's certain is that it will be high octane and filled with a lot of dragon fire. Armies would battle armies, dragons would kill dragons, and armies will test their strength against these beasts from the 14 Flames. I sincerely hope that the show continues to remain grounded in the source material, but with George R.R. Martin involved in the production, I'm sure House of the Dragon will not turn out like the last season of Game of Thrones. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.